Welcome, everyone, to the Boiling Point Podcast. This is episode 64, the 2021 football season rundown, part 1. We're going to do this again potentially in 2 weeks, and then we will, at the end of the regular season, before the playoffs begin, we're going to talk about football and football-related items. Please remember to share this out. Follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/The Boiling Point Podcast. Visit our storefront at bonfire.com/store/The Boiling Point Podcast. All of that is in lowercase lettering. Get yourself a t-shirt, the new design, the American Cross, which I am wearing. And then Mizpah is wearing a very limited special edition t-shirt, the blue with the silver and black Boiling Point Podcast logo on it. That will be until Christmas, so make sure you get the blue shirt. Or there's other colors. It doesn't have to be blue, but make sure you get that style logo before Christmas, because after Christmas I'm going to take it down.
I'll tell you what, I really like your shirt. I might have to look for one of them.
Yes, the American flag. I like it very much. It came out great on the clothing, and of course the clothing itself is always good quality from our storefront.
Oh yeah, like this shirt. It's sometimes you get t-shirts and it's real thin, almost see-through material. That's not the case with these.
No.
They're good, heavy t-shirts.
Yeah, they're very good t-shirts, which is why I stick with them. I'm not always happy with them and how they handle the designs. I've had to go in and make tweaks and stuff before things are printed, but they have a great shirts. And then when they get the logo and when they get everything right, it works and it's excellent. So that's why I stick with them. That's bonfire.com/store/The Boiling Point Podcast, all in lowercase. Get yourself a t-shirt, the American flag cross, or the silver and black logo, which will only be available until Christmas time. Mizpah, we're going to talk about some NFL stuff. We're going to keep the political stuff out of this episode. That'll be in another episode that I'll be doing with Pastor Gavin next week. We'll be talking about John Gruden and some of the other things that in the NFL that are going on outside of the game. But this is specifically for inside the game of football and how teams are doing and so forth. And then at the end, we're going to talk about whether Tom Brady is the GOAT. Plus, we have a very special guest, first time on the podcast, and he's going to join us a little bit later, but I'm not going to tell you who he is. You're just going to have to wait and tune in and find out for yourself. Trust me, you do not want to miss this.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yes, it's going to be a good episode. It turned out to be
a great episode.
Yeah, it's going to be a great episode, absolutely.
You guys are in for a treat.
All right, well, let's talk about the teams first and where everything breaks down. The AFC East, the Bills are leading. They're at 5-2. The Patriots are 4-4, and then of course the Jets and the Dolphins. No one gives a shit about.
Okay, if you would have told me a couple of years ago that the Bills would be leading the AFC East division, I'd have told you fell and bumped your head.
I would have said that before they drafted Josh Allen. But Josh Allen,
a couple years ago.
Yeah, Josh Allen was the key to what they've been putting together in Buffalo right now, and he's the key to what they got for sure.
Yeah, it's been pretty amazing watching them play.
Yeah, and the Bills are good again. The Bills are good again.
Yeah.
Who knew? Yeah,
they've put together some real solid games too.
Yeah, I think they're going to make a Super Bowl run here in the next, I'd say 2 or 3 years. They're going to try and make a good Super Bowl run too.
Yeah, as long as they keep the momentum on their side.
That's the AFC East. In the North, we got the Ravens at 5-2. The Bengals. This is a really tight division, actually. So the Ravens are at 5-2. The Bengals at 5-3, placing them a half a game back. And then the Steelers are at 4-3. The Browns at 4-4. Remember, bye weeks. That's why not all the records are matching up to the same numbers. The Ravens technically lead that division, but they only have a game and a half lead over the Browns. I mean, it's still anybody's division.
It's absolutely. It's very, very. I mean, they're all within like a game.
And that's surprising to me. I thought the Ravens have been doing so good in recent years. I thought they were going to run away with it again this year, but who'd have thought the Steelers are usually, pretty competitive. The Browns have been getting better.
Yeah.
But still, can't usually bring it beyond that 500 mark. Not too much beyond the 500 mark.
Could this be
usually.
A sign of a dominance change in the AFC North?
I don't know. Maybe. I mean, the Bengals are there. The Bengals.
Yeah.
So what? I mean, if the Steelers and the Ravens have been dominating the division for an eternity between those two teams, either one or the other has won for.
Yeah, and now we have the Bengals and the Browns showing
signs
of
Yeah, both in it.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a couple of divisions that are really competitive here, and some other that are very, very mismatched here. The South.
Poor AFC South.
The Titans are at 6-2. Of course, they just lost Derrick Henry. Keep that in mind. They just lost Derrick Henry. He's on injured reserve, and he is going to be out for at least 6 to 10 weeks.
Yeah, that's a big hurt piece for them.
Yeah, and that's assuming he comes back at all. So the Titans season, their 6-2 record, they might get them to the playoffs, but they're going to have to show something in order to continue on. The Colts 4-5, they're fighting. I just watched them on Thursday Night Football. This past Thursday. This is Saturday when you guys are seeing this. It's Friday night when we're filming it.
And with Derrick Henry being out, that is a huge opportunity for the Colts.
Yeah, oh yeah, the Colts could definitely, because Carson Wentz, I'm not the biggest Carson Wentz fan, you know what I mean? And he's still, I was seeing him play, he still has not shown me anything that makes me think he's the spectacular quarterback or anything, you know, that people thought he was going to be when the Eagles drafted him. We're going to talk a little bit about the Eagles and Carson Wentz and so forth later on, so we'll just save that. The Colts definitely can jump in now, and then of course the Jaguars and the Texans. They're not going to win anything. They're looking like my record in fantasy this year. I've been trying to piece together wins just to make playoffs. So, and that's what pretty much the Jaguars and the Texans. They're not making the playoffs. They're pretty much done unless something big happens.
Turns.
In the West, we have 5-2 with a change in coaching from John Gruden. They're now at 5-2. We'll talk about John Gruden on an episode next week when I have Pastor Gavin on. The Chargers are right. This is another close one. The Chargers right behind them at 4-3. Then the Chiefs and the Broncos both at 4-4. That puts the entire division within a game and a half of each other, just like the AFC North.
And see, I think I see the Chiefs ending up on top here because they've started getting a lot of momentum towards their side. Now, granted, you know they've been inconsistent.
Yeah, they've had some injuries, and Mahomes is not looking like the player that he's going to be for the remaining. You know, he's just having an off year, I think. You know, and that happens to the best of them. Even Brady's had a few off seasons.
But all the pieces are there, and if they get themselves together, I think they're at the top of this division.
Yeah, they could definitely make it. They have the personnel to win, definitely. And the Broncos are right there too, though. It's going to be a tough division for sure. And the entire AFC, if you look at the entire AFC, whoever wins that division is going to get the playoff spot. Anybody who doesn't get that division is going to be fighting for a wild card at best.
Absolutely. And then, of course, you got the NFC East, which has, you know, the Cowboys 6-1. The Eagles, not that I really want to talk about the Eagles.
We'll talk about them later.
They're 3-5. Washington 2-6. And the Giants are 2-6.
Yeah. Well, the Giants got a better team than their record shows. Washington is just... We're going to talk about them a little later. Also, they're in shambles for a lot of different reasons.
I think the Giants' problem, honestly, the biggest part of that is their coach.
Honestly, we're going to be discussing the NFC East later, really, is what we're going to be doing.
Yeah.
We're going to be discussing almost the entire NFC East a little later in the episode, so
yep.
we'll get back
to that.
The Packers are leading the North at 7-1. The Vikings 3-4. The Bears 3-5. They're a little far back, but not necessarily completely out of it yet. The Lions are the Lions. Why do the Lions suck?
I don't know. Why do the Lions suck?
I don't know. Maybe we'll ask our special guest later why the Lions suck. The Breeze. Does the Breeze know why the Lions suck?
I don't know that that's something that Google will tell me.
Why don't you see if Google can answer that question for us, Breeze, and then we'll come back to that.
They have some talent.
The NFC South, the Bucks, of course, with Brady, which we're going to be talking about later, 6-2. You know, they're going to probably win the division. The Saints 5-2, considering that Teddy Bridgewater's their quarterback.
Right.
That's amazing to me that they're 5-2. The Panthers are at 4-4. The Falcons at 3-4. I think the Falcons' run is pretty much over at this point.
How about the Saints' defense?
Yeah, the Saints have been doing pretty good defense.
I think the Saints' defense is a big reason why they're 5-2.
Yeah, and the Saints have a decent run game also. So I mean, but without Drew Brees, they're still holding it together.
Yep, they are. And I'm a little surprised with that. I thought for sure they were going to have at least a year or two where they just kind of...
I think that's still yet to come. I think it's still yet to come. Yeah,
Okay.
I think this is holding on. I think that's still yet to come. Actually, I think the next two, as soon as they get rid of Bridgewater, whoever they try and get, because they're using Bridgewater as an interim quarterback. So, and then when they get the new quarterback, there's going to be some time before he makes it.
Year.
Yeah, so there's going to be at least a rebuilding year or two coming up for the Saints. And then rounding out the NFC West here, the Cardinals and the Rams tied at 7-1. Cardinals and the Rams. Guess the Rams made a good. The Rams are at 7-1. The Lions are 0-8. They traded quarterbacks this offseason. Stafford's now with the Rams, and who was it that was the Rams quarterback? I'm totally drawing a blank on his name right now.
Drawing a blank on his name as well.
But they switched quarterbacks, and so the Rams are 7-1 and the Lions are 0-8. That's great.
We could always ask the Breeze.
The Niners 3-4, the Seahawks 3-5. The Seahawks are definitely, with Russell Wilson out.
That's a problem.
And it looks like
them.
the Seahawks are having some struggles here. Russell Wilson doesn't seem like he's going to be the only thing that can get him out of it.
They're another team that they have all the pieces there. They just can't seem to put together
They're kind of going
a
through
solid game.
They seem to be going through some defensive rebuilding. The Seahawks a little bit. Their offense isn't terrible, but their defense definitely a little laxing.
So another thing I'd like to point out is the fact that the Bears have as of right now, decent statistic. They're 3-5. They can still turn that around. Who'd have thought that the Bears would actually be talked about as potential playoff contenders?
Yeah, well, with the change in the playoffs now, and 7 teams make it now, only 1 team gets the bye. So if you're looking in the NFC, it's going to be the Cowboys or the Packers, potentially the Buccaneers. Well, the Cardinals are there too. So one of those teams is going to get the bye, and then the other 3 division winners are going to have to play in the first round, and that's going to be a tight race.
Yeah.
And then there's 3 wild card spots. So yeah, anybody who's 3-4, 3-5, 4-4 in the NFC right now, they still have a chance. In the AFC too, for that matter. Anybody who's at that 4-3, 5-3, 4-4 record, they still have a chance. They're still in it to make a wild card spot. There's still lots of football left. We're only halfway through the season.
Yeah, and as anyone knows, all it takes is one game to change your whole season.
Yep, absolutely.
One injury, one loss, and it's a complete change in your season.
Yeah, and we're going to see that with this. We're going to see that for sure with the Titans losing Derrick Henry. That's huge because he's the rushing leader on the year, so that's huge.
And the Seahawks.
I don't know if Russell Wilson is out for the whole season though. I think he's only out for a couple of games.
But that's a couple of games.
Yeah, definitely. Yep. All right. Well, that's the rundown. Hang on with us just for a second, and then we're going to break down some teams, basically the NFC East. Okay, we're back. Boiling Point Podcasts, and we are now joined by the special guests. His first time on the podcast. It's great to finally have him on. This is my brother Josh. Of course, you guys know that I had my other brother Wise Joe on the show. This is my other brother or second brother. I'm the oldest, then Josh, and then Wise Joe is the youngest. So, Josh, welcome to the podcast. It's great to finally have you on an episode.
Dude, it's great to be here. I'm excited. I cannot wait to let this shit fly.
I'm happy to have you on, man.
We will also
have you here.
You too, bud.
That's why all of the episodes carry the adult warning, and that's why all of the episodes carry the adult warning right there.
You never know what's going to come out of
bombs.
our mouths.
Yeah, sometimes we drop bombs and stuff. And with Josh here, you're guaranteed it's going to be an R rating. So, all right, we're going to talk about we ran down the teams in the first segment here. Now we're going to break down a couple of temes.
We're going to go into my favorite segment.
Yep.
The Cowboys.
Yep, we're going to talk about the Cowboys first. I'll give everybody a moment who is not a Cowboys fan to vomit.
None of the other segments really matter after the Cowboys, so,
Yeah. Well, that's not true at all. We definitely have some good stuff coming up after that, too.
Oh, absolutely.
But all right, let's talk about the Cowboys first. Let's talk about Dak Prescott. Is he the real deal? Because you and I have disagreed on this. Hold on, we'll get you to weigh in also, Josh, here. But Mizpah and I have disagreed on this for a couple of years now. Mizpah has always said that he believes he is the real deal. And for many seasons, I was not convinced of it yet.
See, what I saw from the beginning with Dak was... they brought him in as the backup, and he blew that season out of the water. And he realized he had something to prove. And through that season, his first season, he showed a lot of potential. There was a lot of field awareness. There was a lot of... He's great on the rush. There was so many things.
Did he put points on the board? Is what I'm wondering. Did we put points on the board?
He did.
Absolutely.
For the first couple of years. See, all right, hold on. This is what I think here. Dak Prescott. For the first couple of seasons when we would discuss it, I wasn't convinced. But after the injury that he got last year, remember him breaking his leg?
Yes, I do remember.
And that's a big,
I do recall,
and
yes.
that's a hard injury to come back from.
Your
breaking
leg
a
should
leg,
not
especially
bend
like
that
the way
way.
he broke it, because he broke the femur, the thigh bone.
Yeah,
Went up
you
the thigh
don't
bone.
usually come back from that.
Or at least you come back not the way you.
Or you come
before
back
that.
like RG3 and you just suck.
Well, RG3 had knee problems, but the broken bone can be just as bad,
troublesome.
and
Absolutely.
and it can also take you down
let's
just as
face it,
much
that
with the
could
mobility.
have been a
But
career-ending.
It should have been.
For
most part.
people, yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. For most people, it would have. But since seeing him come back from that this season, they're what did I say they were now? They're 6-1 on the year. He came. This is his first year back from the injury. He has been playing really good. So coming back from the injury and the way he's played this year has shown me that he is going to be a good quarterback. I think for many years, he's going to be one of those contenders. I think. You don't think so, Josh?
I do not. I think this is his rebound, and after this year, he's just going to fall slow. He's just going to slowly just go away.
And why do you think that?
Well,
what is it that you see that makes you think that?
watching football. That's just the way it goes.
Well, I mean, like what specifically I think is what he's talking
Is there
about. Like,
anything
for
in
example,
particular?
I think the receiving targets he has certainly makes his job easier, and certainly could potentially make him look better than he is.
Then it really is. Yes.
CeeDee Lamb.
But you could say that about any great quarterback who had great receivers and great
That's
rushers.
very true. That's very true.
You're not wrong about that. But some,
I just think
you're
that he's
absolutely
going
not
to.
wrong. A
I
good
think
receiver makes a good quarterback seem that much better.
I think he's just going to slant. I think he has his blowout year, maybe one or two most, and then he's going to start to slant.
See, I would
He's
disagree.
not
I
going to
think-
be that. He's not going to be that quarterback.
I think that injury was his test. I think that if the fact that he came back from that is, I don't see his work ethic declining. I see him getting better after this season. I think he only gets better after this season. I don't think he's going to be. Now, I'm not saying he's going to be as good as a Tom Brady or a Patrick Mahomes, who I
I'll
personally
agree
think
with
is-
Patrick
might be the
Mahomes
next
is
Tom
still
Brady.
early though.
You're right about that. He's
You
only in year
can't. You
3.
can't bring him in
But
to the Aaron Rodgers and stuff.
Prescott, what year is Prescott in?
This is his third year?
It's his third or fourth. The Breeze, can you tell us what year Dak Prescott is in?
Breezy.
But I think it's his third or fourth year, and it's also Mahomes' third year, also third or fourth year, also. So they came in the same time, and I don't think
And
that
this is
Prescott will be as
Mahomes'
good.
worst season so far.
You're absolutely right. He is having one of those.
This is
struggling
his
seasons. We
worst
mentioned that
season
earlier.
so far. But
He is
every
struggling.
quarterback is going to have that time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, every quarterback has a season or two, throughout their career where even if they have the best personnel around them, they just have a season that they struggle. Absolutely.
And what I've seen with Prescott, and here's what impressed me with him.
Impressed me.
Year
bud.
over year, I have seen plays and seen things that you can tell he is working on refining his skills and getting better year over year.
I would agree.
He makes passes.
I agree.
His passes are more accurate. They're quicker. They're I watched
I wouldn't
him
say
make
quicker.
a pass this season that literally went around the other another team's player.
Yeah, he
like
does
he
some stuff.
curved a pass.
When he gets on the run, that's dangerous. He can do some stuff with the ball when he's
absolutely.
on the run, but also it can backfire sometimes too.
Yes.
But I think his pocket presence, his awareness, around him inside the pocket has really gotten him, like, that's been the biggest thing that I've seen growth-wise with Dak Prescott.
I have your answer.
Okay, let's get the answer, the Breeze.
Dak Prescott has been in the NFL since 2016, and he's been with the Cowboys the whole time.
Okay, so this is his 5th year.
5th year.
Yeah,
That's
5th
your man.
year.
But he was like the backup or third string quarterback.
Breeze, look up Patrick Mahomes too. He was for the first year he was the backup, but then they brought him in pretty quickly.
I think it was his second year that he.
No, he was in on his rookie. Yeah, he's been
No,
playing
I
since his
don't. I don't
rookie
think
year,
he was
think
his
so.
rookie.
No,
I don't think it was. I don't think.
Breeze, we're also going to need you to find out if he played any in his rookie year or if it was his second year.
I think he played, but I don't think he was the main quarterback. Kind of like Heineken on the Redskins right now. He was not the main quarterback.
Yeah, he didn't start the season, but
Yeah,
then he
no.
came in. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But I think that happened in his first year, not his second year.
Mahomes has been in the NFL since 2017.
So a year after Dak. So it's
Okay.
his 4th year, Dak's 5th year. But I think Dak Prescott, with his pocket presence and the way he moves, and his have you seen his warm-up regimen? The way he the way he does those hip things when he's I'm like, what
I have
in the
not
hell?
seen that. I have not
It
seen
works
that.
for him.
Yeah, dude, and the
It
way he can that's what he's good at too. He's good at changing his entire body direction to throw the ball somewhere else.
There aren't many quarterbacks who can literally like stop on a dime and do a 180 in the other direction.
Yeah, what we're talking
That
about
is
is
very
Dak,
true.
Dak Prescott does this thing where he shifts his hips where he's going to throw, but every time he does this motion with the ball, but every time he shifts his hip, he turns it like he's going to throw the ball that way, and then he's going to throw the ball that way, and then he throws the ball to the like he
Very
just
true.
he just keeps shifting his hips. That's his warm up. He goes down the field and just with this same shift motion, like he's going to.
I
throw
can't
the ball.
say a lot of good stuff
It's
about
crazy.
the Cowboys.
It's crazy
I can't
to see
do
it.
it. I can't do it.
It's just crazy to see.
I
Well, we
just
got
can't
some
do it.
more yet because
I just can't do it.
We're going to
So,
move off Dak.
let's move off Dak.
The general consensus is Josh is not convinced about Dak Prescott yet. He thinks there's going to be a slope off after this season.
Yes.
Whereas Mizpah has always been a believer, and I believe that now Dak Prescott has shown that he's probably going to be a decent quarterback, a good force through the remainder of his career.
I'm so much a believer in Dak Prescott that I
Sure.
actually have finally bought myself an NFL jersey.
A Dak Prescott jersey.
I bought myself a Dak Prescott jersey.
Yeah, I got tired of that. That's why I bought one with my own name on it.
So,
JD, who did you want me to look up after Mahomes?
I don't remember what I asked her to look up after. Mahomes.
It was Prescott, and then it was Mahomes.
But then there was somebody after Mahomes.
we wanted to find
No.
out what year
Oh, yeah,
Prescott
what-
filled
There was a
in
year difference between the
for
both.
Romo.
No, he wanted to know when Dak Prescott took over for the Cowboys. That's what the other thing was that we
Oh.
wanted to know. All right, but let's switch to Zeke, and then we'll come back when the Breeze has that information. But let's talk about Zeke first. Zeke Elliott, is he as good as I have always said? Because now this is the opposite, where you believe Dak Prescott has been the real deal from the beginning, and I wasn't convinced. Now, I have always thought that Ezekiel Elliott is going to be one of the best running backs in all of NFL history by the end of his career. You have not always been convinced.
Yeah, I'm not. You're going to have to sell me on this one.
Well, let me tell you, he had his bad season. We know about last year wasn't a good year. 2 years ago, he didn't
Correct.
have a good year. He had a couple of years after his breakout year. After he won the rushing title, he had a couple of years where he wasn't good. And I believe that was due to two reasons. One was him getting a little arrogant about his skills.
Yes.
Actually, three
yes.
reasons. One, I believe he was getting arrogant about his skills. Number
Yes.
two, Dallas changed their offensive line after
Yes.
after that rushing win for him, which can mess up a running back as well.
Very true.
And number three, I don't believe he was as hungry as he was.
No, I don't think he is.
I don't
think
believe
so
he was as
either. I think
hungry.
He's
as
not
he
as
was.
hungry as he
And,
was.
and that leads me into why I don't think he is all that in a bag of chips.
I think now. Let me tell you why I think it's going to change. And this year is an example of it because he's turned it back on this year. His rushing now. He hasn't. His stats aren't as good as what they normally would, but that's because they got Pollard too.
Yeah.
Tony Pollard, and I don't care. If I had Pollard too, I'd be using Zeke and Pollard back and forth all day, just like they use
they
them.
need
Absolutely.
to have two players that they can go to.
I think Zeke should have more carries than he has, personally, but that's just me. If Zeke was my running back, he would get the ball 30 times a game minimum every single game. Doesn't matter.
Because he's worth having that.
Zeke,
He's
that's
good
what I'm saying.
enough.
Yeah.
He
Zeke
is good enough.
Now he is this year. He's 6th in total yards. He's got 118 carries for 571 yards. We're halfway through the season, so he's looking at 1,000-yard season, which is never bad for a running back.
No, that's pretty damn good.
6th right now in total yards. That's not bad.
And I'm not saying that he's a bad running back.
No, he's
by
not.
By all means.
No.
He's a good running back.
Yeah.
But he's not a great.
See, I mean, I don't think so. See, and now this is what I'm talking about.
That should all go to the quarterback, though.
I will right now, and you're also right. Let's touch on that in just a moment.
So I have that Prescott answer for you.
All right, let's give the Prescott answer first.
All right, so Prescott, his first regular season start came on September 11th, 2016. That's when he took over for Tony.
And that's when he was drafted.
Okay.
And that's when he was drafted.
He was the first,
in 16.
He was the first rookie to start at quarterback for the Cowboys since Quincy Carter in 2001.
And those were during the Cowboy dark ages where they had 4 quarterbacks in one afternoon.
Wow. So 2016 was his
rookie year.
Yes.
That was the start,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, he did. Now Zeke, now let's compare Zeke to Derrick Henry. Let's get back to the running game. Zeke to Derrick Henry. Zeke only has 118 carries. Derrick Henry, who is leading in rushing yards, also has 219 carries.
Yes.
Okay, so that's 101 more carries for Derrick Henry than Zeke. That's what I'm saying about Zeke doesn't get enough carries. He should be getting the ball 30 times a game. Pollard should be getting the ball between 15 and 20 times a game.
Which all comes back to the quarterback.
True. I mean, all right, yes, let's talk. It does, yes, because Dak Prescott is a good quarterback, but you can
just because he doesn't get the ball doesn't mean he's not good enough. You know what I mean?
You can still run the ball as a team. You can have 35 rushes in a game, even with a quarterback like Dak, who averages 35 to 40 passes a game. You still have enough to give him more carries, is what I'm saying. There's enough room.
I agree.
Could give Zeke some more carries.
He definitely should.
And I think he's like Barry Sanders in the sense, not like his moves or stuff, but I'm saying. He's the guy that you're going to feed the ball, and he's just going to tear off those 3 yards, 4 yards, 5 yards, and then he's going to break out and he's going to get that big 60-yard run.
Right.
But you got to keep feeding it to him, just like you did with Barry Sanders. Barry Sanders would carry the ball 30 times a game and have 1 rush for 75 yards. And that's what I'm saying. Zeke can do the same thing. You give him the ball 30 times a game, one of those is going to be the big
breakout.
One. Yeah,
it's going to be the one who wins the game.
It's going to be the big one. Absolutely.
It's going to be unbelievable.
And you use Pollard to supplement him on third downs, and so that way he can rest. Because I think Zeke's in too much too when he's not being used. When the play is not including him, he's on the field too much.
That is very true.
I think
he's running out his steam with nothing to play for.
Exactly. And then, because Zeke's the kind of guy who is going to run every route, because there is still a chance he might get the ball, but when you're looking for a pass play or a cross, that's not your guy. That's your checkoff guy when you're in trouble. Oh, man, I better get it out to the guy on the flat, which is usually the running back.
Very true.
So he's very not... True. And I also think he should be used a little bit more in the rushing game. I don't know why the Cowboys don't call more screens with Pollard and Zeke.
The one thing I see with Zeke that concerns me a little bit is... It's almost like sometimes he gives up the hard yards too easy. When he's got somebody hanging on him, you see him just drop.
I think
I don't know if I see that too much. I don't know if I see that too much.
He doesn't always try to fight that off.
I think I understand what you're saying, and I can't really be too sure about that. But what I will say is sometimes. What I will agree with those is sometimes he looks for the holes too long and doesn't take those hard yards that he can get.
Yeah. Well, he's not quick on his feet. He doesn't scramble and cut real quick.
He's not a huge cutter, but he can find those lanes when everything's moving in the right direction. He can find those lanes. He can make the small cuts. You're right. He's no Shady, who was one of the best cutback backs that I've ever seen.
Well, we all know how I feel about Shady.
He delays just a little too much sometimes.
Yeah, because he's looking for the hole. Yeah, and sometimes he just needs to take the tough yards and get those 3 and 4 yards.
But nonetheless, the Cowboys are still.
Oh yeah, they're killing it.
They're owning their division, top to bottom. It doesn't even matter what we say.
Yeah,
we can all speculate.
And
we can all say things, but
Derrick Henry being injured out now. He's out. He's not going to win the rushing title, which would put Zeke into 5th eventually once they reach the points. But then Jonathan Taylor. The Colts running back is actually who's going to bring up. He's next in line. 140 carries, 821 yards, and it's also the averages too. I mean, look at the average. Derrick Henry's averaging over 4 yards a carry. I believe Zeke's average is just over 3 yards a carry. So Derrick Henry is averaging more per carry.
Per carry.
Anyway, I mean, but Derrick Henry's he's a beast.
He's a beast.
Yeah, he's a beast.
I think we both agree on that.
Yeah.
He's a tank.
Yeah. But he's out now, so we'll have to see how the Titans react to that.
So I'm very excited to see where this season takes the Cowboys. I think we have a very legitimate run at the Super Bowl for the first time in a fairly long time. I feel like they're running on all 8 cylinders. They're putting games together very well. They've been fairly consistent, and I don't think I would ever have said that underneath previous coach that we had.
I agree fully. I can't believe how well they're doing.
Yeah.
And how they just keep showing themselves.
Yeah. I mean,
through each game, their defense, everything is just... They're killing it.
They look like
unbelievable.
A championship team.
They do. Yeah. And I hate to say it. I really do, because the Cowboys...
But, I mean, they do have
I
some
love you, but
competition.
I can't.
They do have some competition. It's not guaranteed they have a bye.
No, they have a tough week coming up, I do believe.
The Cowboys are going to probably make the playoffs. It's likely that they'll make the playoffs. And I think they could make a good run. But I do believe that even if they make a good run, it'll be in the NFC Championship where they get eliminated by the Buccaneers.
Yeah, I don't believe that.
I disagree.
Tom Brady's going to throw you all over the ground.
No, he is not. Tom Brady is going to fail.
I don't know about that either.
I think we are going to be the team that takes down Tom Brady.
Well, let's save Tom Brady. Let's save Tom Brady for a little bit later.
I agree fully.
Let's talk. We're going to switch now to my team, the Eagles, and who are all of that. They're doing all of that, and I want to talk about the reason why they're doing it. And I do believe that it's because of head coach and front office trouble. That's what I believe. I believe that our coach, Nick Sirianni, or whatever his name is not the guy that should be in there. And I'm going to talk about Doug Peterson.
I completely agree with that.
No, I can't.
Want to know why?
I want to tell you. Hold on. Let me tell you why Doug Peterson was fired from the Eagles, and then we can tell everybody how ridiculous it is and why you don't get rid of a Super Bowl winning quarterback the year after he wins a Super Bowl. Actually, I don't think it happened right after.
What's Andy Reid doing right now?
Andy Reid didn't win us a Super Bowl. Now,
well,
all right.
He won the Chiefs the Super Bowl.
So the problem there is that Jalen Hurts, the problem was Carson Wentz. Doug Peterson wanted to keep Carson Wentz. The front office thought it was time to move on from Carson Wentz. Okay? Now, in the front office's defense, most of the Eagle fans were thinking it was time to move on for Carson Wentz. I still don't believe that Jalen Hurts was who we wanted you to move on to, but we were saying maybe Carson Wentz isn't the guy because he can't stay healthy. But that was why. He wanted to keep Carson Wentz. The front office didn't. So they got rid of Doug Peterson because they were going to keep Carson, or because they were wanting to get rid of Carson Wentz. And then they got rid of Carson Wentz also anyway. So they got rid of Doug Peterson and Carson Wentz anyway. And now we have no coach. That's what happened to our Super Bowl winning coach. The guy who got us to the Super Bowl for the first time in our franchise's history wins the Super Bowl. Well, I mean, we've been in the Super Bowl before that, but this is our first Super Bowl win.
And gets fired.
Then he gets fired. His overall career record with the Eagles was 42, 37, and 1. That's not bad. That's pretty good.
That is not awful.
No, and he was 4-2 in the playoffs.
So
that's all right.
And with a Super Bowl win.
That's a hell of a thank you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's absolutely. And it's because of Jeff Lurie, our owner, and when we talk about the Redskins, and that's what I'm going to talk about, I think the Eagles and the Redskins are in the same boat in terms of ownership and front office management. I think that the wrong people are making the wrong decisions. We should have never gotten rid of Doug Peterson. That was the most... I don't care what he wanted. We should have not gotten rid of him.
No, I don't think he should have either, and, to be honest.
Yeah.
I hate the Eagles. Hands down. I don't like them.
When ownership gets too involved in the decisions of the players and playmaking, and they start getting too involved in the coaching, this is what happens.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Ownership
your team goes down. It fails.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Coaches should coach.
And you know about that because of the Redskins.
No, I don't even want to talk about them.
Let's
talk
talk about
them
them very briefly here. The Washington football team
Yeah, the Washington Redskins, first of all. That's their name, beginning to end, for always. There's no this Washington football team where we all have to tiptoe around what we say.
Well,
Washington Redskins, forever, period.
so why do you feel that way? I'm going to play devil's advocate here.
Because
Okay. So, people are butthurt all over America about everything.
Well,
Okay.
to be fair, it's not everybody.
No,
It's just people
you're right.
It's just
right.
people being the loudest and throwing the biggest temper tantrums, which I'm also going to be referencing in my episode next week with Pastor Gavin. Make sure you tune into that one because we're going to be talking about how all these outrages, including the Redskins name or the Braves and all that stuff,
Yes.
is really a minority just making the most noise.
Well,
And
Yes.
it's being
It's
fueled by the
interesting-
mainstream media, not by anybody of real substance or content.
it's
Yes.
interesting that you bring up about the Braves because with the Braves winning the World Series this year, which
Yeah, that's
the
karma.
Braves have been my team since I can remember.
That's karma right there. That's what I appreciated most about that situation is that, we're going to take the All-Star game out of your state because of a voter law requiring IDs. It's not racist. Voter ID laws should be necessary. They're not racist.
All right. First of all, the franchise granted. Fuck me. July 9th, 1932, as the Boston Braves. First season in 1932
I didn't know they were
changed.
from Boston.
The nickname changed to the Redskins in 1933 to Washington in
Oh, you're talking about
1937.
football.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that they were from.
Yeah.
I didn't know that they were
I-
from Boston, and I didn't know
I'm
that
gonna
they used
teach
to be
you
called the
something.
Braves.
So
I'm teaching you something. So, from that far back to what I say, 1933, nobody had a problem about the Washington Redskins.
Well, maybe not nobody, but not people
Not
didn't
as
make.
many
Yeah,
people.
not people didn't make
No.
a big of an uproar about it.
Nobody
No.
who's butthurt about everything.
But
So let me ask you, and I just want to point this out because one of the things I hear a lot with the name change was that the Native Americans didn't have a problem with it. So what was the What was the deal?
Dude,
So-
you're preaching to the choir. I don't have a problem with it.
Okay.
Neither does
And-
80%
and
of the people.
I personally didn't have a problem with the Redskins being called the Redskins.
No, and
I
you're
personally
a
don't
Dallas
have a problem.
Cowboys fan,
Correct.
correct?
However,
Why is not Dallas Cowboys fan being as ridiculed as the Redskins?
I do believe that once the league of people that had gotten together, this organization of Native
this
Americans,
butthurt people.
of Native Americans, came forth and said that they found the Redskins name offensive because the term Redskin referred to the scalps of Native Americans.
I'm Native
At
American.
that point in time,
I am by blood Native American. I am Portuguese. I am German. I am Irish.
yeah,
Should I have some say in this just because I'm not
Absolutely.
100%?
everybody has an equal amount of say, and that's where we're at with that. But my point to that is, I believe not that the name should have been changed, but you can't just
All right.
completely disregard
Yeah, their
An
feelings,
entire-
yeah, sure.
like people's.
all right, yes,
opinions.
absolutely. And
I
and,
can't-
And let's talk about how the term Redskin back in the day was used as a pejorative term. It was meant as an insult.
I
okay?
can definitely tell you a whole lot, but let's hear it there, guy.
But let's talk about the guy
Come on, guy.
who
Let's-
was used as the image, who was used as the basis
Yes.
for the image.
the
Okay, Because in
image, he
1971,
did his hair.
actually
hold
a
on,
very
in
The
cool-
guy
19
from the image did not bother him.
Yeah, I know. I'm about to say
This
that.
is actually a very cool story.
In 1971, Walter Blackie Wetzel, a well-respected former chairman of the Blackfeet tribe who dedicated much of his life to advancing Native American civil rights, met with executives from Washington football team and persuaded them to drop the team's R logo in favor of an image of a Native American warrior. That wasn't that's not when they chose the Redskins name. They were the Redskins before that. But a chief went to them and said, hey, drop the R logo and let's make it a picture of a Native American warrior. which
Yes.
they did. So, right there you go. It was meant as even if the term was used as a pejorative term back then, it eventually became to be someone who's a warrior. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They may have been calling these guys Redskins, but they were the Redskins who were killing them. You know what I mean? They were meant. It was a warrior's term. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
how it eventually evolved. And people who have a problem with it, I think, it's like you're erasing the history, and you're erasing what they were striving for. This Indian chief went there and said, "Hey, use this as a term," just like Aunt Jemima, and just like these.
Aunt Jemima.
These were
Aunt Jemima.
symbols who advanced the causes
Correct.
and advanced the further movement of the civil rights that people wanted.
The other
Preach it, bud.
side
Preach
of
it.
the conversation.
And that's
Preach it.
why people who think that, oh, you're against changing the name, you're a racist. No, we're not racist. We're actually trying to preserve the history, and we don't want to forget what we did to the Native Americans, because the minute you whitewash history, it can happen again, and history repeats itself. So we should never forget about what we did to the Native American people.
Did you know
or
that
any of that stuff? That's why we can't. That's why we should keep monuments up. We should keep the Redskins' name, the Atlanta Braves, the Cleveland Indians, the Chicago Blackhawks. They all should keep their name because they are a reference to
history.
a culture who was mighty and fought fiercely.
Did you also know that Walter
Walter
Black?
Wetzel?
Yeah, Walter
Wetzel?
Black.
Wetzel was also the same. That image of him was also the same image used on the Buffalo nickel.
Oh no, I didn't.
Yeah.
But it would make sense.
So just that's another interesting point of fact.
So that's what's wrong with it. We can all agree that the problem with the Washington football team is both they need a name because that's terrible marketing. They should have never changed their name from
It's the Washington Redskins. End of story.
And
for everybody.
Your owner, Dan Snyder, is a moron.
So now that we've gotten that out of the way, how are the Redskins doing as an actual football team?
They're doing.
Let me tell
this year.
you. We are garbage, man.
2-6.
We can't get our defense together. We can't get our offense together. We play hard. Well, we think we play hard, and then it comes to nothing.
So is it the coaching or is it the distractions of everything going on around?
My honest belief, I've been a Redskins fan ever since my dad was alive, and he was a Redskins fan. And as far as I can remember, it's been 16 years since I've been a Redskins fan.
Probably longer than that.
Well, I'm
I
just
think
saying.
there's pictures of you in a onesie with a Redskins jersey on.
Probably.
Yeah.
But we just can't get our shit together. We can't
That
come
comes-
together as a team. We can't manipulate ourselves to...
So whose responsibility is it to formulate a cohesive team
All right.
out of a bunch of individual players?
All right, this is what it is. It's supposed to be our quarterback, our coaching staff, and our owner. End of story.
But it all starts at the top. It's the front
Yes,
office
it's got to
and the
come
owner.
down.
Yeah, either they
But-
got to get their shit together and and have the right personnel, or stop making personnel decisions and let the coaches make the personnel decisions.
Yeah, but you got to hand it to Heineken right now. Heineken he's doing a great job.
Yeah, you guys
with
have
what
some
he
good
has,
players.
yes.
He
You guys
is
have
doing
some
a
good
great
players.
job. He is coming in. He's not throwing more than 2 or 3 interceptions. He's 27 for 34. You know what I mean? He's doing really good.
Yeah,
He's-
I have to say, I have seen just a little bit of play that I've seen with the Redskins. I have seen some potential with Heineken.
Yeah, well, Heineken is the only key that's keeping us rolling right now. It is not the source of the owner. It is not the coaching staff. Heineken is the key person who is putting us where we are right now. That's my belief.
I think everything kind of happened at one time. I think the Redskins are in a rebuilding phase, which hurts them as well.
Well, they've been in a rebuilding phase. For
Yeah,
10
they keep
years.
trying to change their quarterback.
They change
you
not
can't
just their
do that.
not just their quarterbacks. They change coaches and quarterbacks every 5 years. You can't do that.
No.
You can't do that without well, that was a spill. That's okay. But you can't do that. You can't replace your coach every couple of years and expect to develop a winning culture. Some of the best teams have coaches who have been there for a while and who will continue to be there for a long while.
Very true.
Which is why I couldn't believe that we got rid of Doug Peterson, because he was somebody after Chip Kelly. Doug Peterson was like a godsend after Chip Kelly, because Chip Kelly was terrible. He should never have coached in the pros ever. And then we got Doug Peterson, somebody who took us to a Super Bowl, and then we decided to get rid of him.
We could probably do an entire episode on Chip Kelly.
Yeah, and how much he's terrible. But it all comes from the front office. From the front office, that's where it starts, because that's who's deciding who's going to be the coaching.
Right.
So now, let's move on from this.
Yeah, let's finish this.
And I'd like to move on to a very painful topic.
Yep, let's finish this podcast episode out here. We're going to end it with something that some people are all for and all about, and other people are not. Is Tom Brady the GOAT? Is he officially the GOAT?
Let's start out. Is he the GOAT, John?
All right. Well, let's talk about some career. Let's talk this season.
Just simply answer the question: is he the GOAT?
There's a lot of. I have a lot of evidence here that is for that.
Okay. And
evidence is not truth.
You say no?
Evidence
I don't
is
think
the
he is.
definition of truth.
I think he is he's getting lucky as he always does.
And here's what I will say.
Let's hear it, bud.
As much as it pains me to say it.
Yeah, you can't have 30 years of luck.
Tom Brady.
He did not have 30 years of luck.
Has been surrounded by some excellent players through his whole career. That have it goes back to having very talented receivers makes a quarterback look much better than he is.
Yes.
And that has been my argument for Tom Brady for a very long time.
Yeah.
That Tom Brady would not be Tom Brady if it wasn't for the players around him.
Yes.
And that is very true. I agree with that fully.
You could say that about any quarterback that could be
on
the list for the greatest of all time anyway.
Not if you're talking about Brady.
What Tom Brady has done by going to the Bucs.
Yes, that's where it is. He didn't just stay with a team. He went to a new team and then won the Super Bowl again.
Makes it very, very hard
Yes.
not to consider him the GOAT.
Or at least the reason why the Patriots had the success they've had, because now they don't have any success.
He cheats.
That's not on this episode. Yeah, that's not on this episode.
I'm just saying.
All right, the season stats for Tom Brady is he leads yards passing, 2,650 yards. That puts him over 5,200 yards passing for the season if he stays on track.
Sauce.
That is stupid.
Yes.
That is stupid.
It is stupid. He's at 25 touchdowns, which also leads the NFL. That puts him on pace to tie his own record. Not his own record, because he doesn't own the record for the most touchdowns in a single season. He does not own that record
yet,
but it will tie him again at second place.
That is stupid.
He has 643. Hold on one second. He's at 343 attempts, 231 complete. That's a 67.3% completion percentage. That's good. He only has 5 interceptions on the season, which if he stays on track, that would only give him 10 for the whole year. Amazing.
That is unbelievable.
His passer rating is actually the one that is actually the lax of the stats, and it's still not terrible. A 108.6 passer rating, that's not terrible. Anything over 100 is a good passer.
Yes.
Ideally, you'd want someone in the 1-teens or 120s, perhaps, but that's
good.
Yeah, I don't care. That's good. His career stats: he's played 309 total games. He has 606 total touchdowns. He leads the record. He has almost 11,000 attempts. He has just over 7,000 completions. His career completion percentage is 64% completion percentage. Career.
And his career has been how long?
I don't even know.
Like forever?
18 years
or longer. Breeze, how many years has Tom Brady been playing?
I think it's 18.
He's got 196 career interceptions. That's so negligible. He leads all-time yards, 81,854 total career yards. He leads it over Breeze, who is just over 80,000, and Manning, who is in third at just under 72,000. He has 606 career touchdowns, which I've already said, which he leads all time. Second is Breeze with 571, and third
Gotta
is
love
Manning
Breezy.
with 539. There is going to be, in these stats, there is going to be some arguments
You gotta
for
love
Breeze.
Breezy.
There is going to be
Gotta
some
love
arguments.
Breezy.
There's going to be some arguments for Breeze in this, okay?
Breeze is the shit.
He's second in pass completions at 7,009. Breeze leads the all-time
Speaking
passing.
of the Breeze, how about the Breeze? Do you have that answer?
I do. Tom Brady has been in the NFL since 2000.
So
21
21
years.
years.
Now I was a few years off. Got me some slack.
All right, let's talk about some individual season highs. Now, this is where the only argument can be made against Tom Brady right here, okay? Because he leads all-time passing yards. He leads all-time touchdowns, okay? And he's done it with 2 teams now, which means you can't say that it's a fluke, that it's a team
Yeah.
thing.
That just means that
All
a
right,
lot.
so in passing yards, this is the only place Brady is third in season high pass yards. Okay, this is an individual season, the highest pass yards throughout one season. Brady's third on that list. He got it in 2011, 5,235. Breeze is above him in second place, also in 2011 with just over 5,400 yards. And Manning actually leads, and he has 1 more yard than Breeze. Manning has 5,477. Breeze has 5,476 in a single season. Passing touchdowns in a single season. Brady's second in that, while tied for second with Mahomes. 50 touchdowns in a single season. Peyton Manning leads. Well, that's the high. That's his high. He's on track to do again this year. He's on track to score another 50 touchdowns this year.
Let's hope so.
No, that's Brady is on track to score another 50
Oh,
touchdowns
well,
this
fuck
year.
Brady. I thought you were talking about Mahomes.
No, Mahomes is.
I don't have that
tied.
paper. I don't have that
Brady,
paper.
It's Brady and Mahomes who are
Tied
tied
for second.
with 50 touchdowns in a single season. Peyton Manning is the highest with 55 touchdowns in a single season. And then Drew Brees, he owns the season pass completions. He owns it. He's first, second, and third in most in all completions throughout a single season. So I mean, Drew Brees. There's certainly argument for Drew Brees.
Breezy is Breezy. You can't get him wrong.
He's second in yards. He's second in overall touchdowns. He's first in pass completions. He owns the season pass completion record. He's on the list for season passing touchdowns and season pass yards. So there can be an argument made for Drew Brees and Peyton Manning. He's all through that too. But is it enough to say that they're better than Tom Brady?
No, it's not enough.
I think right now we've reached the point where, and again, it's going to pain me to say this, Brady is equal to Breeze at this point in time.
Really? Because I have one more stat, and I don't like playing the pro Brady guy. I really don't. We were gonna have a
Breezy
Brady
is my
fan.
dude. I love Breezy.
We were gonna have Brady. We were gonna have a Brady fan on, but he couldn't make it. Hopefully, in 2 weeks, we're gonna try and have another football episode, and then we're gonna talk more about Brady. But I don't like being the guy that is pro Brady. But someone has to make that argument.
No, I love Brady.
So I'm gonna have
Brady
to.
is my dude.
I'm gonna have to make the argument now. You're saying as far as that maybe Breeze is equal to Brady or so.
If Brady beats more of Breeze's stats,
Now,
then that seals.
And while I agree with you that
Brady being the GOAT.
And while I agree with you that Breeze is all over some of these and he's competing with Breeze for a lot of these stats, this is the last one that I'm going to drop on you. 6 rings. And with
Breezy's not going to overcome Brady.
No, because he's retired.
Yeah, this is it.
Yes, Brady is going to keep going. He's going to own some records. But all I'm saying is Brady has 6 rings. Breeze has what? How many rings does Breeze have? 2? 1? 2?
Hang on.
Peyton Manning has 2.
The Breeze?
Yeah, she's looking. I heard her say she's looking. But that's it. That's my final argument for is Brady the GOAT. 6 rings. 6 rings.
But you don't win Super Bowls by yourself.
No, but you...
I think
you win Super Bowls
but
as you
being
win
part
Super
of a
Bowls.
dynasty, and then if you happen to do it twice in the same career,
yes. Okay, so there is that.
The Bucks are they only got 1 loss. Okay, they're
sounds
in the
like
NFC.
like the Breeze has our answer.
He only has 1.
Breeze only has 1. Manning has 2. Brady has 6. That's and I think that's where the final argument really is going to be made is he's got 6 rings. Nobody else does. Breeze has Brees is second in career touchdowns. He's second in career pass yards, but Brady has him in both of them. And the only thing he beats him in is pass completions. And Brady will have that beat by the end of this year. And then in terms of individual seasons, you can say that Drew Brees is one of the greatest individual season quarterbacks, but he's not a dynasty quarterback. Brady...
No, he is not. He's not dynasty at all.
Brady is potentially a two-time dynasty quarterback.
Yeah.
If the Bucs go to the Super Bowl again this year, that will be 3 years in a row, unprecedented, first of all. If he wins, that's 2 out of 3 that he's won with the new team in 3 years.
And the Cowboys are going to stop that from happening.
And the only person that's been able to beat him... The list of people who have beat him in Super Bowls is not very high. The amount of Super Bowls he's been in has high. He's won 6 rings, but he's been in Super Bowl. He's been in, 10 Super Bowls? 11 Super Bowls? No one has more Super Bowls. You all right? No one has more Super Bowl trips than him, so that's what I'm saying. I mean, 6 rings, and the records, you decide for yourself. Leave us a comment. Leave us a comment.
Let us know
what do you think? Who is the GOAT? Is it Tom Brady? Is it Drew Brees? Is it Peyton Manning? Give us another name if you think it's if you think it's somebody else. I personally think that in 20 years Mahomes will be in the argument, but he's not there. But he's not there yet.
No.
So leave us a comment, please, on Rumble. That's our main station. Rumble.com/C for channel /The Boiling Point Podcast, all in lowercase. That's our Rumble station. That's where you can find all of our episodes in their entirety, in their full. Okay? You can check out, we have a new channel, a smaller thing we call the Simmer Down segment. That's at rumble.com. And you know what? The link is in the address of that because I don't have that one memorized yet. So sorry about that one. The link to our Simmer Down segment is in the description, as well as our Facebook. Check us out on Facebook. Our storefront. Remember, you can get any of the shirts that we're currently wearing. Josh is wearing the JDEDESIGNz. That's from the JDEDESIGNz storefront. That's my art business. That's bonfire.com/store/JDEDESIGNz with a Z on the end of it. And that's all lowercase. You can find that storefront or the Boiling Point Podcast storefront, bonfire.com/store/the Boiling Point Podcast, all in lowercase. Get yourself a silver and black logo shirt. That's only till Christmas time, limited time only, Christmas time. Get the American Cross. Get yourself a new one of these. They're going to be around for a while, but you should grab them now. Before I change the colors or do something to change it up. That's how you can support us. Please make sure you share it out. That's what we need most right now, is for anybody who's watching this and enjoying this episode, please share it out on your social media so that we can continue to reach more fans. For Josh Edmonds on his first time on the podcast, he did a great job. Mizpah, the senior sports correspondent. I am your host, JD, and that's the end.
Go Cowboys.
We love you.
I'm not around, have you found? I'm always on you.